Hello,
Hello,
and welcome to Tales from the New Shed.
Tales from the New Shed.
Or New Tales from the
Yeah,
Tales
whatever.
from the New Shed.
Yeah, Tales from the New Shed. Okay, wonderful. And we're kind of quite excited because we're a little bit out of practice, so we're kind of gonna,
Yeah,
get used to this.
it's been a while. We've had to have a bit of a break because I've moved and now have a new shed, and it's kind of lighter and brighter. So I'm a little bit worried about looking my age, but there you are.
Yes, well, we'll come back to that one. We'll come back to that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, and the interesting thing is that in the meantime, what's happened was I've been to the Arctic Circle.
I'm just so jealous. I'm just jealous. Out of all the places I'd love to go, that's just such a fantastic place.
And to go in the winter, there's a thing. There's a thing. And yeah, it was interesting. And it's all really my daughter's fault because it was her fantasy. So we flew to Stockholm, and fantastic city. Love Stockholm. And everybody was lovely.
Oh,
The Scots were great. They weren't that kind of standoffish Scandi kind of thing. So they're really brilliant. And then we got the overnight train from Stockholm to Luleå. That was an experience, I'll tell you, because we booked
and there were further north.
That's way north.
How long did that take?
That was a 12-hour train.
Wow, 12 hours from Stockholm.
Yeah, 12 hours from Stockholm, and it was going at a lick. It was going at a lick, and that was interesting because it looked quite comfortable. The bed looked quite comfortable, and then you got in it and you realised that the train was going round corners. So you're either on your head, or you either felt that you were slipping out the window on your feet. So you were like that. I mean, you'll be used to this because of being on a boat,
Yeah,
but
I get that.
But it was kind of a bit like, and we didn't spend enough time in the bar, so we weren't pissed enough. So we only had one beer, but there we go. But we did. So that was interesting. And then we got to this place in Luleå where the ice on the lake was 1/2 meter thick.
Wow, you can't get over that.
And the day we got there, they said, "Oh yes, quite warm today. It's only -7." I'm like, okay. So we went out and did various kind of things. And there was one day where Ella and I went for a walk on the frozen lake, and it was -17.
Fantastic.
Brilliant sunshine, bright sunshine, the most amazing weather. And we kept seeing the tracks we didn't ever see the animals, but there were tracks of reindeer and moose and all sort and Arctic hares, because you could tell them because they had the long back feet. Right. Because one of the guys said this is how you tell where they've been. And a wolverine. Did you know that?
No, I thought it was only a thing on the.
No, it's a thing.
It's a thing. It's not just a thing on the.
So all of these things, and then we were going to go out on the. It's the only place you can do this. It's the only place where the sea freezes enough for you to actually go out on a hovercraft, and we couldn't do that because it went down to -23, and apparently after -20, the hovercraft doesn't work too well. So it could break down while you're out there, and then you have to walk home.
Oh God!
So they didn't do that.
How amazing!
But I'm going to have to go back, because one of the excursions they do that I didn't see is you go out on an icebreaker. You go out on an icebreaker in the sea, and they will get you suited up in a dry suit, and you get to hang out in the water.
Oh, how fantastic!
So yeah, so that's on my list.
I'll join you on that one.
I know. How good is that? So it was interesting for me because everybody was. So when we stayed up in Gatwick at the night before, and we were talking to the waitress and having dinner, and she said, "Where are you going?" And we went, "Well, we're going to Stockholm and the Arctic Circle." And she went, and she said, "You're the only person." So the rest of the hotel, they were all kicking off for the sunshine, and we're going to go much further north, and we're going to a place where people just do that. I mean, people they're living and working outside in that temperature, and it was kind of like, well, this is the temperature at this time of year.
It is, as you say, out of your comfort zone, which is, I think it's really nice. You don't necessarily want to be in an uncomfortable place, but somewhere that just pushes you with all of the joy. You can really appreciate those joys.
It was incredible.
It is incredible to be out of your comfort zone, isn't it, in that way?
It was, and it was quite refreshing, because we just kind of decided amongst the three of us, my husband and my daughter, and we're just saying, what are we doing today? And the interesting thing was, when we were in Stockholm, we'd had this conversation about the museum pass, which means if you pay this, and then you can go to X number of museums, and it's supposed to be cheaper. and then we were kind of getting really a bit oppressed by, if you
Yeah.
get the museum pass, then you have to go to 4 museums
Yes.
every day and the rest of it. And we kind of got to the point where we said, we're not going to do that.
No.
Because a couple of things we wanted to do weren't included. And we went, we don't want to do that. And we just ended up doing 2 things a day. And it was just like, so we're going to walk here, or we're going to take the bus, and we're going to see that.
Yeah.
And then when we got tired, we just went back to hostel and we had a nap.
I'm just you're talking, I'm just thinking of this, how it's this juxtaposition of, some people will say it's always good to be out of your comfort, you should always do it. And actually there's a lot to be gained from staying in a comfortable place. But I think it's that possibilities and rest, isn't it? It's that pushing out and then having 2 days. You say, I'm just not going to do anything today. I'm just going to stay here and just look around. I don't have to constantly be looking at every new museum, every new street, every new place. Let's just walk and start this part and just walk everything. It's just kind of, no, today just feels like a coffee in one cafe day.
And the morning, the morning we couldn't go on the hovercraft, nothing else was available. So we're in the Arctic Circle and we sat by the fire, read a book, you know. I mean, Ella was like saying, if there'd been snowshoes, she would have gone out and done something like that. But you know what? We just hang out. And then we just said to them, right, we'll have a sauna. Because we just went down to the sauna and did that. And you're just like,
and it's definitely that we need to push. And I think life can be too comfy and predictable. But on the other hand, you can make yourself really bad. So it's a really lovely balance, isn't it?
So I think that's it. Getting out of your comfort zone is great. But at some other point, you need to make sure it's nurturing you, not over challenging to the extent that you just feel oppressed by it.
But you bring back your stuff into that relaxing space, thinking this has been amazing and I now have new challenges and I'm determined to do them.
So I can recommend the Arctic Circle
in
February.
It sounds amazing. That sounds really amazing. And that out of the comfort zone. I mean, we've just recently moved, and that was like a massive move in terms of from a big property with lots of land to a tiny one, and it does feel odd. It changes your dynamics, but once you take on board, I think you never lose that. You just add to it in a new way of learning. So
brilliant.
Maybe that's a new way of doing it.
So have a look at that this week.